First story. Today I ducked up by having a rapport with my girlfriend and her friend. So, this wasn't really yesterday. It was on New Year's. Literally as the year started. And I am still suffering the consequences. As this caused for my now former girlfriend to break up with me. For the sake of the post, I am gonna call her Pink. Now. Prior to this, and I am sorry, but I think context is needed her. Pink and I had been together for almost 4 years. And we had very good communication. We never hid anything, and we spoke about everything. Including when we were attracted to another person. Eventually this led to both of us speaking about hypothetically getting Zully involved with another person. Both her and I. We talked about it several times whenever I felt attracted to another woman. Or her to another woman or man, she's bis Zul. Moving forward. She became friends with a girl that I am going to call Blue for the purposes of this post. Pink met Blue through an art calling that they were both part of. And they really hit it off. Eventually, Pink introduced me to Blue during preparation for an art exhibition that they were going to expose at. At that moment Blue did not interest me much. As we did not interact much, and I couldn't see her face due to everyone wearing a face mask. However, as time went by and we all hung out together without face masks, I got to know her a little better. Blue is gorgeous, lovely and charming. And I inevitably started to feel attracted to her. I did not want to get romantically involved with Blue. But I definitely felt that I wanted for something to happen. I of course talked about this with Pink. And she completely understood because she thought the same of Blue. For some time, I talked with Pink about Blue on various occasions. And regarding how she would feel if I kissed or had sex with Blue. Pink said that it would be okay. And that it would even be nice because if I kissed or had sex with another woman, she would rather have it be someone she knows. Pink told me that it was okay because she also felt that attraction. Right after Pink told me that it was okay, I felt more attracted to Blue and the idea of being with her. Because I never would have done anything to hurt Pink or jeopardize our relationship. I did not actively pursue Blue. I did not even attempt to get her number or anything. I just let things flow as I was with Pink, hanging out with Blue and other friends of Pink. Now, to the recent events that led to the duck up. For New Year's Eve, Pink went with her family to a house that they have about 7 hours away from the city. And Pink invited Blue to spend New Year's Eve with her. They left the city to be at the family house on the 27th. But I couldn't be there because of work. However, I was lucky. Now I know it was not a good kind of luck enough that Pink's cousin was heading up there on the 31st. So I tagged along as she agreed to take me there. As we were celebrating New Year's, we had a good time. We were drinking and we were all pretty drunk. Although none of us was super drunk. We were pretty drunk. But not to the point in which we were losing balance. So not that drunk. We went to the bedroom somewhat early. At around 3:30 a.m. as we were tired and ready to sleep. Pink, Blue and I were sharing the same bedroom. Pink and Blue were supposed to sleep on the bed, while I was supposed to sleep on a mattress on the floor. I did not mind at all. But Blue had suggested that I could sleep with them both as there was enough space in the bed. So of course I took the offer. As Pink went to the bathroom to get changed and all. Blue and I exchanged looks as I stared at her eyes and she stared back at me. We didn't talk, we didn't make any gesture. We just looked at each other. Blue already knew that I liked her. Pink told me that she had noticed. But I guess this confirmed it for Blue. I thought that Blue liked me back. Because she did not avert her gaze. She looked at me as I looked at her. I still did not do anything at this moment, but this brought the idea of maybe trying something. Pink came back from the bathroom. And we all laid on the bed. Blue was at the leftmost part. I was in the right. And Pink was in the middle of the both of us. We all eventually got closer as I snuggled with Pink. And as I was going to wrap my arm around Pink, I grazed Blue's leg. I was really nervous as I thought I could progressively and slowly caress her and see if she likes it. Or stops me, so I did. Very slowly. I started caressing her leg. Starting from her knee and slowly moving down her leg until it was very clear to me that she was into it. I started getting really close to Blue's crotch. And eventually started touching her. Pink woke up and noticed what we were doing. And then Pink and Blue started making out. Duck. It's happening. Oh man. This is the best way to start the year. I'm about to have a rapport with the woman I love and her friend. Duck, was I wrong? I mean, it was great. But what came after was the really big duck up. Throughout the rapport, I must admit I focused on Blue. It all was completely new to me. I hadn't been with another woman besides Pink. So she caught my attention. However, Pink seemed to be having a good time. And she did not say or make any gestures to indicate that she did not want any of this. Although it was pretty dark and we were all pretty drunk. And in retrospect, maybe I did not see any signs that I wouldn't have missed otherwise. We all had an amazing time, or so I thought, even though I was not able to get an erection. Alcohol and my penis don't mix up well. Them fur likes to go to sleep instead. After we stopped, we laid back on the bed. And this time, Blue was in the middle of Pink and I. Blue and I were still naked. While Pink did put on her pajamas. I snuggled to Blue very closely as her ass was right up to my crotch, and I was hugging her and having one of my hands on her breast. We did not sleep much. Or at least I did not. I was still full of desire as I was not able to unload it. A little bit further in the morning. At about 6. I was still awake. And I noticed that Blue was awake. I should have taken note that Pink was not. But Blue started moving and we started touching each other. We were not being loud or moving too much. And moments after, Pink got up the bed and headed out of the room. The way that Pink got out, I did not notice any body language indicating that she was upset or anything. And I thought that she was going to the kitchen to get some water. Blue and I continued. And we eventually did it in the same position we were snuggling in. Moments after, Pink comes back and tells me that she wants to break up with me. I was shocked because I did not expect it. I thought we all had a good time on the rapport. I thought that what we did was okay as we had talked about it before. But apparently it was not. So to wrap everything up, Pink and I talked about it for the remaining days. At first she did not want to. But eventually allowed us to talk about it 3 or 4 times. Basically, Pink did not want to have a rapport in 3. But felt pressured and did not know how to deal with that pressure as she was still drunk. Bear in mind, none of us was super drunk. We were pretty drunk. But not even to the point in which we were losing balance. Pink did not say anything after the rapport ended as she was too tired and fell asleep really quick. Now, Pink thought that it was going to be okay for me to have sex with Blue prior to all of this. But after the rapport, she noticed that she was not okay with it. That it most likely would affect her. But we did not get the chance to talk about it. I did not ask Pink about the rapport in 3. Not before it happened nor after. Based on what we talked, I assumed that I was okay. And based on how I perceived things during the rapport, I also thought that it was okay for me to have sex with Blue. But I definitely should have talked with Pink before. I should have woke her up and asked if it was okay. I should not have started anything without her. I really ducked up. We had talked about getting married. We were going to live together this month. We were creating projects for the future. She was my everything. Duck, I wish I could go back in time. I feel like the crappiest person on earth right now. My relationship with Pink was based on communication. On the fact that we talked about anything. We absolutely loved that about ourselves. And but mostly I ducked that up when it mattered the most. I apologize for the huge wall of text. But I felt that I needed to tell the whole story. I am not pretending to. Excuse myself of any blame in any way, and I hope I am not portraying myself as such. Because duck am I guilty for this. Pink is firm on her decision of breaking up. And does not want to try to fix things. I hope she changes her mind. And I let her know that I'll be here if that changes. Because she meant everything to me. But there's nothing we can do. We talked about it until late yesterday before she blocked me from everywhere. I am sharing all of this not only because it is a way of venting and not keeping everything bottled up, but also in hopes that someone learns from my mistakes. Please communicate with your significant others. Don't assume anything. Consent changes with time. And even if it was previously discussed that it was alright, always confirm before doing anything. Too long didn't read. My girlfriend and I talked about having sex with other people several times. We thought that it was okay. I had a rapport with my girlfriend and a friend of hers. And on the same day, I did it with my girlfriend's friend. I now started the year without a girlfriend. Edit. To all the negative comments attacking me. Yeah. I deserve it. I deserve whatever comes. I know I really ducked up. I know I beyond ducked up. There was some lack of communication from both ends that caused this. But I should have realized how she felt. I should have paid more attention instead of letting myself go through what was going on. I have been talking and crying with Pink throughout all these days. About how everything happened. How she felt. How I felt. There's much more that came up as we talked. But I am not going to make another wall of text as I know it was pretty long to begin with. And I am not here to make any excuses. Or take any blame off myself. Even though I failed to portray that in some parts of the text. But yeah. I completely 200% ducked up. Pro tip. Never duck your girlfriend's best friend over her semi-sleeping body if you intend on getting married. Second story. Got back with love of my life. After a 5-month split. And she told me that she had recently got back with her friends. Couple and had a rapport in 3. And then got introduced to another man who had paid her for a bondage session. I male 42 genuinely thought it was over this time. Sally 40 and I have a true love story and have been friends for 12 years and lovers for the past 3+. It had been 5 months up until 6 weeks ago. And she randomly contacted me. As she does. And I invited her to my house to talk. We ended up spending the next 36 hours together. And it was amazing. Not just physically. Just lost in the love of our hearts. We remained in contact. And then I found a reason to reach out. And then spent the whole weekend with her. That was a month ago. And we've picked right back up. So, 2 weeks ago, we're having one of those hard talks that needs to be had. It got a little heated on her side because it was about a girl that I had been with. During our break, I knew she knew and I felt horrible about it. I definitely thought she had done her own thing during those months. And had no qualms with that. Sure. It hurts. But that's part of life. Love. And relationships. During the somewhat heated conversation, she let slip what she had been up to recently. She said she got a hold of her friend's couple and had a rapport in 3 with them. And introduced her to a man that she ended up doing a bondage session with. Her next words were, "Some people pay really well for that." Then she proceeded to tell me that there was no going through with the rapport. And she hadn't had anyone else inside of her since me. Okay. We were broke up. I'm not a jealous person until I am. If that makes sense. Well. Now she opened the book and I want to read it. We've had a split or 2 before and she told me about a friend of mine and hers and what went on with them one night. Just some innocent finger banging. Like. I said. I get it. Things happen. We're adults. No qualms. With that. I worked right through that. For me. This is different. I'm still trying to work out why. I told her I needed to understand. And no more. This truly bothers me and need to be in the light. I'm a very open person. And I do not judge her for this. I just want to be consoled. She went as far as to tell me that the couple and her use a pleasure machine. And there is no going through with the guy. Same with the guy that they introduced to her. And paid her for. Bondage with a whip to tell it in her words. I'm very good at reading people. And I do not believe her. She started crying and her eyes told me all I needed to know. So for the past 2 weeks, I've gone up and down the rabbit hole. Spending thousands of dollars drinking, drugging, and gambling to stay out of my head. I've been with her almost every second since. Until something comes into play that reminds me that the love of my life has had a side job where another man thinks he owns her. I am in a certain kind of hell. I have heaven beside me and hell within. I am broken. To the point I've been walking in the cold all night outside, freezing in the mountains and snow, trying to make sense of this. I know there are a lot of holes in this post. But this is the second time I've tried to write, and I just need to get it out there. I'm no angel. But I'm honest and value integrity in that. And when it comes to Clyde wanting Bonnie to console him, I would do whatever it took. I'm asking for any and all help. Not an easy thing to do. For this guy. Thank you. Too long, didn't read. Lover. Breakup. Bondage. Provider. Resentment. So many questions. Help. Just cut it out. Honestly. There's no other or better solution. If you want to get rid of a problem, just let it go. I've rarely read of anyone having multiple breakups and ending up having successful relationships. Then of course, we are all humans and we are driven by feelings, which can often lead us to make mistakes and pursue unhealthy relations. It happens to everyone. And no one would judge you if you choose to stay with her despite feeling betrayed. The only rational answer to your question is to just let her go, though. There's no way around it. Wow. You have a finger on the pulse of me. Betrayal is the one mountain I can't seem to get over. You're not wrong. And I don't want you to be right. Thank you. Any more of your insight is much appreciated. I know what you're saying. Human beings choose to suffer versus letting go. I wouldn't really call it insight. It's just nature. Either you let go of the feelings of betrayal, or you let go of her completely. Personally, I can be quite resentful, and that has led me to accumulate anger towards many people. So I couldn't handle a situation like that. If you are capable of forgiving her, then by all means do it. But keep in mind you already split up in the past, and it could happen again, leading to even more resentment. Sometimes we just like things to be exactly as we wanted. But that can never be. Either you can accept them the way they are and just hope for the better, or run away and try to find happiness somewhere else. It sounds very cliché, but honestly there's not much else to say. Third story. My boyfriend 20 wants a rapport in 3 and I'm 21 conflicted. My boyfriend and I have known each other for 5 years and been dating for about 2. On Thanksgiving he brings up the idea of a rapport in 3. He's mentioned it before, but I didn't know how serious he was about it until this day. My initial feelings about this were pretty strong. I was curious, but also really anxious about the idea of watching him have sex with another girl. We kept talking about it and were planning how we'd do it. I've always wanted to try being with a girl, so I was very interested in that aspect of it. I've never wanted or fantasized about a rapport in 3 though. That night and the following days I started getting more and more anxious about the idea, and I cried a few times about it. I am very sensitive and cry easily, but the idea of it became more and more upsetting to me. A few days later we kept discussing it on and off. Always me bringing it up now since I couldn't get it out of my head. I had lots of questions about logistics and also just why he wanted to. My mind was swirling for days with thoughts like, am I not good enough? Is he not attracted to me? Zuli, why does he want to have sex with another girl? Fast forward, and we ended up having a bigger than usual fight about it. He got upset at me for being disrespectful of his fantasy, because of the mixed signals I was giving him. Which I totally was. I should have just said I didn't know. But initially I was curious and wanted to talk about how it would happen and imagine it with him. So I kept pushing. All the while being open with him about how it kind of breaks my heart that he wants this, so yeah. Definitely mixed signals from me. That was my bad. The fight ended with him telling me that he's been thinking about doing this since he was a kid, and that he needs it to happen eventually. He used the word need. He says he never imagined the fantasy with his girlfriend. But that's since we are together, and he wanted to do it anyways. He wants me to be included. He tells me that it is 100% Azul fantasy, and he has no intention of being romantically or emotionally involved with whoever this other girl might be. He would never cheat on me. Our trust is very strong in that area. So I'm not afraid he's going to leave me. He even agreed, not reluctantly at all. He really just doesn't care that I could be in charge of every single part of the process. He doesn't care who this girl is. He just wants to have a rapport in 3. Simple as that, I guess. He doesn't seem to want this to be our new normal or anything. Just something he wants to try. He even agreed if we did one with 2 girls that we could do another after with 2 men if that's what I'd like more. He's also spoken before about how he doesn't want to get older and get married and regret not fulfilling his fantasies while he's young. We talk about getting married and having kids, and he has always said how he plans to settle down and be a dad and a good husband and everything. We are young, and I wonder if it would be fun for me too to have SXY fun while we're both young. I'm so confused right now, and after our fight we agreed not to talk about it anymore. But that I would be working on warming up to the idea more and more. The idea of having the imagine on my head of him inside another girl makes my stomach twist up though. What I really want is to know why. I don't think he's gross or wrong for wanting this. I just want to understand so that I can know what's going through his head while he is doing it with his girlfriend and another girl. I just cannot compute. Late 30s male. If you do it, don't do it with someone you know. It's best not to do it though, as it'll most likely be the end of your relationship. Oh honey, just imagine what happens. Your boyfriend and you are enjoying yourself. Then he starts to ignore you and focus his attention on the other woman. Personally, I can't handle that. It's hard enough in a relationship with just 2 people, but when you add another it's a whole different ballgame. The disrespect of him asking after I explained my feelings. Just no, not while in a relationship. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.